Greetings in the divine name of His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie I, King Alpha, and I Divine Mother Empress Menen Queen Omega, and I the children of Jah Rastafari, representing for the Ankh Nation family. Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be accepted in I sight, O Jah. Greetings once and on. Once again, give thanks for lending ear, so I can articulate Rastafari. Now, this word sound is I's second testament in relation to I journey within Rastafari. And in the first sound, the question how I come to see His Majesty as the Almighty. So, in the early trad, like I say, I mentioned earlier about Eddie and within I self, question things and a search for answers. And first time the biblical scriptures, I come across a brother named Elijah. Ras Elijah, salute. And it's a man who used to show certain scriptures, like the Revelation 19 verse 16, Revelation 5, Psalms 87. No, and I tell about Revelation 3, 11 to 13. And I read some of the scriptures then for sure as far as Marcus I prophesying and all the elders them sides up the king within scriptures. But these are from the biblical Rasta vibration. You know what I mean? And like me say, it's an evolutionary state within I growth and development within Rastafari. So I read the scriptures them and I meds them. And moving right along, Elijah. So it come a time now as I get stronger and stronger. The question still lingers. How His Majesty a God? Because barring the fact He's a king, my flesh and blood and all these things. So I still not make a connection there yet. How to express the divineness of the king outside of the biblical scriptures. And the more the question them, like more when I come across once and once and you declare say you're a Rasta, them try to make a mockery and make you look like you're an idiot. I never did that. So I the kind of an edge. And some of the time too, when we recognize, sometimes when you don't know if you express certain things, you get aggressive. And that did not work for your time too. But within I Evans, the question, how the king is the Almighty. And then every time I go into the scriptures, there are things that stand out. And when you go back in Genesis, the forbidden, the sin in a hold on. Cause you see within this book here, I view the book are different. Enough ones and ones bound the book here and say run away with that and all. But I is not going to be one of them. Because within this I observe certain principles And I label the book, you know, the strategic blueprint of conquest, based on the things that I come to recognize within this book here. But anyway, within the Genesis, Genesis 3, I think. Genesis 3. But it started in Genesis 2, man in the garden, and it said this. The Lord God, no, let me start back from here, son. And out of the ground made the Lord God to grow every tree that is pleasant to the sight and good for food. The tree of life, that is significant now, the tree of life also is in the midst of the garden, and the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Now, when I come across that, I say, tree of life, tree in the midst of the garden, tree of knowledge of good and evil. And I say, what kind of tree that? You know what I mean? So, and then it come over in a 2:17, but out of the tree of knowledge, the tree of knowledge of good and evil, thou shalt not eat of it. For in the day that thou eatest thereof, thou shalt surely die. Now, again, I pray out. What is consistently standing out for I and I is knowledge. Knowledge, good and evil, knowledge. And then, this are the first of I and I are come now to recognize, say, the tree of good and evil are I and I. Man, human being. So, when I and I come into that realization, then I went further now in a coming back again about knowledge, it always a standout. Then you come in a Genesis 11, and it said, and the whole, it's this about the Tower of Babel, and the whole earth was of one language and of one speech. And it came to pass as they journeyed from the east that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. And they said one to another, go to, let us make brick and burn them thoroughly. And they had brick for stone, and slime had they for mortar. And they said, go to, let us build us a city and a tower whose top may reach unto heaven, and let us make us a name, and lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth. And the Lord came down to see the city and the tower which the children of men builded. And the Lord said, behold, the people is one, and they have all one language. And this they begin to do, and now nothing will be restrained from them which they have imagined to do. Go to, let us go down, and there confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech. So the Lord scattered them abroad from thence upon the face of all the earth. Now, again, the importance they say again within that scripture, they are knowledge again. So, this is how I come to the realization with the king now. After amazing for a while, I recognize, question me always, what make we pray God, pray to God? Because God is all knowing. And when you're all knowing, you're all knowledgeable. So we separate from man from God because God is all knowledgeable. So the garden was knowledge, the Tower of Babel was knowledge, and what separate man from God is knowledge. So now, why we obey God? Because we know not what God knows. I saw I a question, you know what I mean? And a question. And within each question come a manifestation. So after a time now, and then you remember, though you was made in the image and likeness of God, you shall die like man. That again is another thing. Well, what that mean? So I come into this realization now and say, why His Majesty? And I look to the king, or I look to the king. It's because of the knowledge. And therefore, I recognize, or even within the scriptures, with Yahshua the Christ or Jesus the Christ, He always implore to the disciples them about knowledge. Because in everything it's always about the knowledge. So then I come to the realization and say, within I journey through life, even within I self, the more I grow in knowledge, the more things reveal unto I. And this is how I come to the realization now, say, why I look to the king, or I look to the king, is because all the king tried. The king always tried without knowing. No. There is all I and I supposed to can identify with this. There is a connection within I and I. Some people call it a vice, some will call it intuition, gut instinct, but there's always a vice. And all you get for a direct connection to that vice, you have to train yourself. And the more you go, like I said, when the more you go within and the more you listen, attune your hearing to the voice there, then things will reveal. I have a personal one experience with that voice there. So I saw now, so I recognize now, say, what separate man from God and knowledge? And this is this was a very same principle with Jesus. So when I elders them declare Rastafari and say Christ in I'm king of character, and I come to the overstanding and the inner standing, that is what we call superior intelligence, infinite, as we describe God, the omniscient, omnificent one, the all-knowing one. If you tune in, you go within yourself, and I like to say again, attune yourself to that voice, you will become all-knowing, but you have to become one with that, what I call that voice. And that's why I look on the king now. I recognize the knowledge base of the king. I recognize, yeah, for I know, because once I want not necessarily have to accept what I say, you know. But it's just, this is just I looking at the king and answering the question. Because what is God? I now go to this because you see, Christianity, I know why I was raised up. They gave us a particular way of view God and a perception about God. But yet still, those who have ears and eyes to see and hear, you recognize certain things as you start read them book here. When you start read a book here with knowledge and understanding from a mental, spiritual and physical. Because that's how it come back down now to the physical being now. You start out from the physical, then you ascend mental, and then you have to enter the spiritual realm. And the spiritual realm now, where everything connect. And this is how you find ones and ones. Do something sometime where ones and ones perceive it as miraculous. Even I all hear some story about the ones and ones in the eat where they call Obia. And these ones have the ability to resurrect the dead. Whether you believe it or not, but they are people attest to these things. But all these things can happen is because of knowledge. And knowledge and word sound can manifest certain things. You don't have to accept it. And this is how I and I observe. And when I and I observe the king and moving on earth, certain things when I see the king actualize and manifest as a black man. And if you remember when the king actually in the earth, in the height of segregation, racism turn up, oppression turn up when it comes to white oppression within the black. But yet still, the king as a black man go through any door in any space. And I ask I said, when I see the king, some documentaries, some pictures of the king in a certain spaces, I say, and most of the time I'm a private audience. And I say, oh, this black man here, by pigment definition or eye test, oh, this black man here, always in these spaces and always get things where needed to get done. Be done one way or the other. So these are the things where I look on the king in a reality, and then I research and I read a whole heap of books, and then I come to realize as above, so below. Everything, the all is within the all, which is I and I. Rasta call it I and I. But there's no separation between I and the Most High. What separates I and I from Jah is our mindset. And the same thing we see even in the Bible, to identify it in the Bible for I and I. When Peter did want to follow Jesus and Jesus told him to forward in and him walk. But when him start meds like a man again, him falter. And again, this is how I and I come to the realization. So how the king now as a physical being can also be a spiritual being. As them say, the divine God in flesh. It's a mental. And how you come to that is knowledge. And how you get these kind of knowledge, you have to go within yourself and attune yourself to the infinite. The best way we can express it to you. Let me give you an example. With a king connecting to the infinite. Within nature, I use. You have a stream which find its course into a river, and the river find its course into the sea. Now, between the stream and the river, when the stream merge with the river, can you find the stream again? Absolutely not. You only can see the entry point, but you can't find the stream. You can't separate the stream. No, you can't find the stream that merge into the river. And the process continues with the river merging into the sea. When the river merges into the sea, you can't find the river within the sea because everything becomes one. But it's a journey. And that's how I and I come to recognize now the king is a levels, a knowledge development. And these knowledge development come from your lower, where you hear them talk about some things named chakras. But at different levels to higher knowledge. And I look upon the king as the one who possess or go through the stages of evolution to become where I declare him to be, as I divine in flesh, Christ in him kingly character. See him how, if you ask a one about the stream, you may look upon the stream as just a stream. But if you follow the course of the stream will also becomes a river. And if you follow the course of the river will becomes the sea. Now, as all man think, man divide and separate. So if you ask someone what is the difference between if the river, the stream and the sea, if them are one, once I want to tell you no, and once I want within the infinite is what we call water. They are all water. They are not separate. Only separate by how you view it. But if you look from within the all and everything, then you come into realization. But everything is within levels. The stream is a different level from the river, and the river is a different level from the sea. And so I see the king. That's the best way we can really try to express it. But it's unknowing. And it all come back down to the knowledge. And this is why them and those now. And this is how why them deal with I or them deal with I now. Because them whole objective is to keep I down. And the only way you can keep somebody down is to restrain them from knowledge. Knowledge of themselves. And this is what Rastafari bring and give to you. Knowledge of yourself. Because once you obtain and recognize who you are, that you was made in the image and likeness of your creator, then to a spark if you stop operating and behave like a man. Because we tell us a man's objective is slavery. Yeah. Man is a slave to God. Because man have to do what God says. And likewise, a slave objective is to obey a master. So you see the different levels. So, how I can change I position in the earth. I have to start thinking like I creator. And start do for I self. And stop wait for people to do for I. When I have the possess the ability to reflect I divine Father by creating things. And this is how the elders them declare Rastafari. They know say I can declare I own. No need no permission. We don't need to necessarily justify the divinity of the king either. The king can be who the king is to I just simple. Because I declare himself. And I have to know these things. And know say I and the king is one. Only we separate I from the king is how I pray. Perception. And perception is the blocking or the opening of how you view things in a life itself. And this is why I can look to the king and declare the king. You don't have to accept it, you know. You don't have to accept it. But I know say I declare the king as I declare the king. That are just from the divine aspect of the king. Within the king's trod, I salute the king in the earth, see how the king move in the earth like me I said before. And this is one to emulate. And I want to emulate the king. Trod. Because the king trod up full in the earth. And many propaganda is out there, you know. Say misleading things and all kind of things about the king. But when you really go and check out the ones them where I say the things them about the king, you recognize them have an agenda. You recognize that some of the people them, like for instance, may I give you an example. The propagandists tell I say, oh, Selassie are wicked. We make the people them starve. Did the people them starve? Yes, they did. Why the people them starve? They want to blame that on the king. No. Especially in the Wallo province. When you go into the Ethiopian, I know the Ethiopian history, you know say Wallo is an Islamic stronghold within Ethiopia. And them always a try to undermine the Christian empire. Meaning the objective is always try to Islamize, turn Ethiopia a Muslim. So the central government, the central authority, which would be the kings, always have to create checks and balance on them. Always mitigating or preventing them from muscle up to take over. Because I show you before, you know, them always come little bit, then them take them time and grow, and then them muscle up. And when they muscle, them always try to overthrow and take over and dominate. So this is all the king. But beyond that, beyond the Muslim aspect of Wallo, there's also, when the Italian invade, the mustard gas and destroy the Arab farmlands. And these are some of the things that happen in our Wallo too. Because it experienced the bombing by the Italians them. Because the Italians, anyone them find the resistance and the stronghold, them bomb it day and night. And I pour the gas on it, and that cause soil erosion. And when it causes soil erosion, you can't grow food. So that are two aspects me I give, Wallo and the king. The third one is court intrigue. That one here come from now, the kings, the crown prince. The crown prince, he want him time to sit down on the throne, but his father live too long, and his father sit down in the seat of power too long. He feel like his father get too old, and he want the power. So he makes some little usurpers and traitors inveigling. And when the king take a trip, go to Brazil, they make them move, but the loyalists them. And funny enough too, you know, one of the traitors them name was Mengistu. Mengistu, the same name we come back in 1974. I don't know if them connected. You know what I mean? Maybe I should look into that too. But nonetheless, I find out why Haile Miriam Mengistu do and do outside of foreign intelligence and influence when I give via communism. You know what I mean? But when I continue, so therefore, again now, the son, the crown prince, name called when them try run the coup and the Ethiopian loyalists destroy them. And the Mengistu them at that time in the 60s. Them get punished. Them get executed. Fail coup. So the king do what he have to do. Now he come back in the 70s now. The said son, Asper Watson, him is the governor of Wallo. So when the famine get out of hand, he should have reported to the central authority, which is his father, but him withhold the information. And by him withholding the information, the CIA reporter named Jonathan Dumbley report it and spin it in a way make the king look bad. And then now you have the students them now, who get the foreign influence. So you have to be careful again with it when you allow information to come into your people. Because now communism penetrate the minds of them youths here. And them decide to go against the king. But the famine was again court intrigue me as you know, another move by Asper Watson. And ironically, when the coup started, the first coup, when the king of Brazil them declare him emperor. And I likewise with the second coup, but when they are England, then are Europe, and then declare him again emperor. And then men go so find out say him can go all the way without the monarchy. And him assume a dictatorial position or a junta. That first, that's where they start out. Group of military officials. and them overthrow the government. But nonetheless, the wallow, naturally, the propagandists them against the king, quick and ball outside the king, make the people them suffer. And reality is the people them did suffer from the famine for true. But you have to go to the root cause of the famine. Why the people them, so the Europeans, the Italian invasion that destroy and also hinder the Ethiopians them can get the proper things them they need. And then them come in like them help them. But them cause dissension. And them disrupt it, and when them disrupt the monarchy, Ethiopia run through a terrible time. And so now you have what them call the Red Terror, because Mengistu kill everything we have affiliation to the king. And any dissent, he murder them, he murder thousands of people. But these things, you're not going to know these things unless you study and you have to know your story. And when you declare Rastafari, you have to know what Rastafari is all about, which is resistance. And you have to know why I extol the king. Because like I repeat this again, I'm going to say it again, I'm going to keep on saying it. Show me a black man since 1492 were treading on earth like His Majesty. Righteous leadership, you know what I mean? And awful in him treading on earth. I mean, I make an excuse for the king, because guess what? When some people get bright and the king have to discipline them and discipline them. But most of the propaganda, when they spell the propaganda upon the king and say the king killed Zardito. My response to that is that if the king didn't want to kill Zardito, he could have killed her a long time from when he defeat Atsfawat and Lijiasu. He could have murdered Lijiasu, because he could have killed him in a war, but he never murdered him, he arrested him. And Zardito, she passed away. Some said the king, the propaganda against the king killed her. I tell you, if the king didn't want to kill him, could have killed her a long time. Because the king was that powerful in Ethiopia. And he have the backing of the church, and he have the backing of the warlords, them, the Rassis, the regional leaders. The king have them support. So the king could have easily usurped, but he never do that. The king step in when Zardito's husband, Raswale, when him try now to usurp the throne by placing himself on the throne, and the king have to step to that and mash that up. But every time the propaganda when we hear for I and I when they must spread against the king, to try to dissuade I and I from the king. I check them out thoroughly. I recognize our propaganda is to try to destabilize and derail public perception of the king, because the king image was too powerful. And the northern, aggressive, recessive people them recognize that the king are unified. Because them see the move of the king. So them have to do things to intercept. And this is how the dirt come into play. Because them coming out through influencing, again, it's always black skin traitors. Influenced by Marxism, which end up the dirts of black skin traitors are destroyed. Doing the bidding of the Europeans and behind the scene, because you have Israel behind that and Russia and them they're behind that too. And Cuba too. So this is a geo-international politics now. But ones and ones not going to know these things. And what I knowledge, read and study and observe the movement of the enemy. Because the objective of the enemy is to keep us divided. The Tower of Babel principle in the Bible, but just find that out to me. That is a principle, a strategy, divide and rule. How them divide? Change up the language of the people, them say you can't communicate. So you divide. you're Nigerian, you're Ghana, you're Zimbabwe, you're Trinidadian, you're Jamaican, you're Black Americans. We all have the black skin, you know, but the mindset is different. And this is the Rastafari I bring to the table of the oneness. You don't have to guess and spell, but you're divine. We declare the king as I and I divine, black divinity in flesh. And in a real time, practical, where the king is upon a pedestal, where I and I can extol and emulate. Because we see that the king is a strategic individual. In everything that the king does is very strategic. And in order for I and I to get up out of the clutches of these NAR people, northern aggressive recessive people, and not people, northern aggressive people, these people, popularly known as European or white people, but may I call them North, these people are always strategic, and you have to be strategic. That's why the king could have outwit them as a chess master that he is and get him with. There is no other African leader and no other black leader where they make a move off, you know, and them return, you know, and rule them country independent. You can't name one. Everywhere the white man, the dark people that enter space, them take it over except for Ethiopia. Them run in, but them have to run back out. Because why? Global geopolitical circumstances, and the king they declared it in the League of Nations. So the mats that strike in Ethiopia shall burn and burn all of Europe. And this was a prophetic speech. The world come to recognize it, and what was the prophecy come to pass when the king said that Europe start burn through Hitler, and Mussolini signing with Hitler, and therefore England them have to run and scramble now, and them recognize that when the king did it strategically in England, I try to implore them to give him the arms to help him to defend him country, while the patriots them a fight and hold the order and wait to the return of the king. When them recognize Mussolini and Hitler go so, them come here the king now like I help them or help the king. When them did sacrifice Ethiopia. Well, not sacrifice, I try sacrifice Ethiopia to Mussolini to appease Mussolini. And it backfire. Because them never know so Mussolini never side with Hitler. Them never say about the king. They tell them the prophetic spirit, the mats that strike in Ethiopia shall burn and burn all of Europe. Them never know say Hitler did come from out of Germany. I kick up rumpus. I come to beat up the whole of them. So now, European tribalism, kind of not going like a black people alone tribal. European tribalism with Germany, Italy, France, England, Poland, Austria, the whole of them. Tribal business, and now them have to turn on now and stop the boogeyman which was Hitler. Because them couldn't allow, because if Hitler come in with Mussolini, them are control the whole of North Africa. The whole of Africa, so to speak. Because once them come in, what happen now? Hitler can stay and dominate the Middle East, and that are the food basket, the natural resources of the earth. And England and them are going to collapse. France and them are going to collapse. So when you see them, ones and ones like una chat off on the mouth and I come talk about say, the king, they are in run Ghana, in him a coward. The king are wage a mental strategic war, where you know call diplomacy. And the king checkmate them because he was victorious. He did have England and Italy kill each other to restore him upon the agency of the monarchy. To restore him back to power. Again, name me a black man since 1492 who govern them kind of respect in the earth, in the heights of segregation and oppression for the diaspora and for the continent in general. Name me. And this is why I extol the king. And again, I say, name me a black man who have two European nations and kill off them one another for black cars. Name me one except his imperial majesty Emperor Haile Selassie the first. Jah Rastafari. This again, this is why I extol the king in a practical, real way. I never want to spookism, you know. I'm not trying to make the king into Jesus, because the king is not Jesus. The king represents the Christ consciousness, where all I and I have the consciousness there. But again, you have to attune yourself and stop behaving and think like a man. Because when you think like a man, you do things what man do. When you think like the divine, you create, you build and you destroy. And it's a mindset, you have to have a sovereign mind. And this is what Rastafari come to bring to the table. The sovereignty of yourself. Collectively. Run with the tower of Babel psychology. Divide and rule. Because that is the strategic principle that show. And I hold it more in it. That's why I call a book here. That's why I call a book here. The blueprint. A strategy of conquest. And I look upon it through a spookism lens. And I see it for what it is. And this are the book where everywhere the Jewish people after the Babylonian captivity and every other conquest, them build up this. And them can't carry this. But anyway, them go because it's a religious book. But within this religious book, a strategic principle for conquer. I'm tell you already, let me show you from Noah come all the way to Abraham, come all the way to Moses. Slow, over 6,000 you take them for reach now 1492. The 1492 when them destroy the black Moors and the Moors them in Iberia, in Granada. Because Granada was the last stronghold of black people ruling over Europeans. And Isabella and Ferdinand come and destroy that and run with the Moors them and run out the Jews them. What them call historical the Inquisition. And I saw enough of them spread out and come across these sides of the world on the ship with Columbus, and enough of them run away as sailors on the ship with Columbus them and all of the other explorers them. Because the Jews them come over as merchants, likewise the Moors them as navigators, because of them teach the European and everything out of higher knowledge base, because them come take over the knowledge base through Islam. But most of the Arabic Renaissance, I literature and knowledge, them just turn it into Arabic. Same thing the Christianity do. Same thing Judaism do too. Because I knowledge base Moses that work after. The whole of them, Father Abraham's children, Noah, and they said northern, aggressive, recessive people them. The not people them. And them same one. Thousands of years. And if you check out them store, them always try to destroy and I. What we call aka black people. But I and I prefer to hold on to the type like Ankh Nation, because I and I is the one who give life to everything. And Ethiopia, this is why Ethiopia remain how it is. Because them start out from in the north and them come through. And them wage war in the Bible, you see in the Bible, they hear about the Hittites, the Amorites and all of them. And them and the original people, them. The Afro-Asiatic people, them are war. And them give to you another story of Abraham and them. And Moses and them. And them, they never stop till them change the dynamics of the Middle East. But them don't even look too black again. Black people still there, you know. They're dominated by Arabs and whites. White looking Arabs. So that was the middle ground, that's why they call it Middle East, between Asia and Africa. And them come and them dominate and destroy till the last place where we have left at Ethiopia, where the Muslims them still are try right now, and the Italians them. Because when them colonizing the Berlin come and split up Africa, Italy they late out of the gate. But she come and she want to Ethiopia because they have 1 and 2 pieces. Where them have them foot in the honor of Africa, but them want the prize, our birthright, our where I and I evolve out of Ethiopia. But if you can't defend your home, you can't defend no one. This is why the patriarch them fight so hard. So and this is why Ethiopia remain I divine space. That's Rastafari declare it. It's not because I and I try to be Ethiopians. I and I not trying to be Ethiopian. I and I just reconnect and realign. I and I said, the diaspora came over here as captives and then turned into slaves. And I refuse to accept what them want to say. So I and I declare Rastafari. And when you look on Rastafari, I tell us that Rastafari is an Asian practice, not modern speak. Because when you look on the Asian teachings, you recognize that Ra is the sun, the light. And I is the light of the world. Rastafari. That one of the title them give to His Majesty. Kings of Kings, Lords of the Conquering Lion of the tribe of Judah. And elect of God, light of the world. I that. I come to restore I oneness. Oneness. And stop them use the Babel tactics for us, the Tower of Babel tactics for us, and divide it. And give you all kind of different labels. No. Rastafari, and this is why I stand up and I say, I only one Rastafari, we don't want a denomination. We don't want a mansion, or one Rastafari. And one extol the King, His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie. We don't want no more. Because Him is in perfect reflection of what I want to be in our earth. Beyond the propagandists that try to dissuade you and turn you away from your divine self. Because when you look on the King will reflect I and I strive to elevate. This is why I declare the King. So these are the things I have come into, and I testament. When I give thanks to Django, Marshall, Elijah, Eddie Ed, all of the ones that come across. Sheriff, God bless them, them transition now, all, and hold it more ones and ones I do it. Even the Abuna too, because I come across all the Abuna too. I hold it for ones and ones. And them strength where I can articulate Rastafari today. I stand up. And the biblical Rasta, I give another vibration before I see it up. Within the biblical vibration, you have when Elijah is show they have the Revelation 5, the Revelation 19, verse 16, the Revelation 1. But what will stand out for me the most out of all of them, and enough of them, even the other day, I hear more tattoo. And he might give a whole heap of chattings. But him can't not answer the question. And this was the argument. That's Sonia. That's Sonia. Every time I read it, none of them can answer the question yet. Yeah, man. I read it for you. But in particular, verse 4, the part, were really important to our. So I read it. It said, His foundation is in the holy mountains. The Lord loveth the gates of Zion more than all the dwellings of Jacob. Glorious things are spoken of thee, O city of God, Selah. I will make mention of Rahab and Babylon to them that know me. Behold, Philistia and Tyre with Ethiopia. This man was born there. And of Zion, it shall be said, this and that man was born in her, and the highest himself shall establish her. The Lord shall count when he writeth up the people that this man was born there. Selah, as well the singers as the players of instruments shall be there. All my springs are in thee. You see it? No. The thing is up. Which man was born in Ethiopia? It says which man was born in Ethiopia? And certainly I know say Jesus never born in Ethiopia. I mean hear motor like I hear motor. I intellectualize because sometimes it's the next one too, you know. Sometimes it increase in knowledge, and as it increase in knowledge, it go on like say more abstain from certain or beat up on the ones them where kind of hold on to the biblical prescription. But nonetheless, the man them where the Bible talk, them the question where one of try to answer, and them elders them declare it. Them declare say the Christ in a killing character come out of Ethiopia. So this is when this is one of the scriptures where I use. And enough times I come in a reason ones and one. I ask them, oh, you know what talk about? So I say, who it talk to? Who it talk? The only man you know, memory now. By virtue of Makeda, make us start over. Marcus gave declare, the elders have run to the scriptures and then find the Revelation 5, the root of David, and the Revelation 19 verse 16, the vesture, kings of kings, Lord, and then the king get crowned November 2nd, 19, and him have all of these titles coming from the bloodline of Menelik the first, Solomon and Sheba child. And then the scripture went on, the elders and declare and said, let me read it again. It said, I will make mention of Rahab and Babylon to them that know me. Behold, Philistine and Tyre, but with Ethiopia, this man was born there. So who was the man was born in Ethiopia? Like I say again, up to this, even more time himself confound himself and give an answer. You know what I'm trying to do? I'm trying to intellectualize we and try to tell ones and ones about say, a David thing it talk about this stuff, nothing to do with the Rasta, ray. But the elders them declared so, and when them talk like that now, they make it look like so the elders them have no sense. But them for answer the question, and if I ask them, which man was born in Ethiopia? And I declare Imperial Master Emperor Haile Selassie the first coming from the bloodline. Whether them accept it or not, this I as Rastafari declare. And again, I'm telling you, so this book here, see this book here? Once I accept certain knowledge and I grow in knowledge, it's subject to interpretation. It can be interpreted in many different ways, but I interpret that sound. And it's not to interpret it, it's there. If Jesus never born in a Jerusalem, if Jesus born in a Jerusalem, never born in a Ethiopia, then a must His Majesty that talk about. And if you can't tell me who the man them talk about in a Ethiopia, if you can't tell me, then you have to submit. And know say Rastafari say it is His Majesty. And His Majesty fit this, and not Jesus. Because Jesus was never crowned a king, much less an emperor. He was a carpenter. But nonetheless, like I tell you before, I say it to you again, what connects Jesus is the infinite knowledge, the supreme intelligence, that's spiritual from the spiritual plane, that's within all of I and I, but I and I have to elevate to that consciousness where I and I can declare and move as I and I define. And instead of think like man, we start think like our Father intends us to be, move as creators, divine, our I and I say. That's why I and I say the king in I and I. Enough nowadays, enough ones and we have all the 5% youth, they must say, yo, them are God. Them are God in our earth. And you hear some empress now declare so them are goddess and all these things. Because the consciousness. But these people now, the Babel people them, where them don't want them and them God, them don't want you have knowledge, so them try to confuse you. That them do them and them lackeys. And them plants and them agents try to confuse you because they don't want your own. Because you see once you own Rastafari, you see once you hold on to Rastafari, you declare and you come in and you want this unstoppable. Because you become one people. And that this Rastafari bring to the table. So you know no confusion. There's no confusion with Rastafari. The only confusion exists right now between I and I as a people. I and the mindset, we think like slaves. Most of I and think like man. You see it? We have to embrace the divine, and I give the king, His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie the first. The man practically moved through earth. Not no spookism we are give, but we are use scriptures to show you certain things. But I and I no beholden to the scripture. When I and I articulate the king, it's not just from a scripture, it's a practical reality. His Majesty is the only black man on the earth or white people bow and salute to. Where I see how them deal with the king. I see the king, I see all popes or the pope I feel give homage to the king. In a them time, you go back in a them time, in the 1930s, 40s, black people have no ratings. In America alone, them can't even vote. In Jamaica, you can't even vote. You don't even have independence. They still live like slaves around here. But yet still, this black man, him is a black man by eye test and by field declaration to very much unify when him come with the OAU for restore the black empire. Because that's what they can destroy the white people them and them propagandists go against him, the Nah people them. And have some of them see him and spread the propaganda against the king. You all hear someone that talk about say, oh, his Moses say him not black. Of course him not black. Black is a diaspora definition for unify I and I. The man come from an ancient order. And they know who him be. And they don't define themselves as black. They define themselves as Amara, Oromo, Afar, and different Somali, different Eritreans, with different names for them tribes. And that them identify with them. And over here, so we in the diaspora, we call them strip we are everything now. We identify and collectively we come now and define blackness. And the blackness, all I and I come under the umbrella of blackness. Whether Africa, Asia, Europe, or the Caribbeans. All melanated. My prefer to say carbonated skin. Carbon people. We are one, and a Rastafari now is that unification, because that's all we need, you know. Knowledge set to know so we are one. Because the strategy is the strategy of the Tower of Babel. All them what? Destroy with knowledge base. Same thing when them do with the diaspora, the principle is still there. Divide and rule. Now that them do it. Them label you Jamaican, them label you American, them label you Trinidadian, them label you St. Lucian, them label you British, black British. Them label you African, them label you Nigeria, Ghana, Zambian, Mozambique, Algerians, you name it. All of that are divided. And then them come again where and add on to the division now, them come with them religion again and divide you even some more. And Rastafari is the only school of thought now where I gather all of I and bring I and I Caribbean African unity. Caribbean African unity bring all of I and I under this one umbrella here. This one institution with one sound. Jah Rastafari without apology. Sealer.